saurari WADR.
West Africa Democracy Radio.
Je suis à Dakar, au Sénégal, et j'écoute la WADR 94.9 FM.
West Africa Democracy.
West Africa Democracy Radio.
We are West Africa Democracy Radio.
94.9 FM.
Dakar, Senegal. It's you speaking.
WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's 6 p.m. in Dakar, 7 p.m. in Niamey. Good evening and welcome to Newslink, live on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and worldwide at wadr.org. Here are the top stories. Nigerians react to INEC's statement that 2027 elections may not be 100% perfect.
Such statements sends a lot of electorates, a lot of Nigerians worries as to if the process will be credible well enough.
He's afraid that when things go south, he's likely to lose his job.
Senegal's former president Sall faces setback for UN Secretary General candidacy. West Africa Democracy Radio launches a week-long training for journalists on investigative and solution-based reporting.
You
come from countries facing significant security challenges. You are capable of carrying out the responsibilities that will be entrusted to you.
Opposition in Togo demands clarity into a bill seeking state of emergency extension in Savannah's region. Please stay with us for details of these stories and more.
On the news, this is Augustine Bill Coley.
Many thanks for joining us. The candidacy of Senegal's former President Macky Sall for the position of United Nations Secretary General has been confirmed. Burundi President and current AU Chairperson Evariste Ndayishimiye submitted Macky Sall's candidacy file. While Sall seeks to succeed Antonio Guterres as UN chief, some Senegalese citizens are challenging his capacity to lead the organization, citing concerns over his record in office as president. Here's Christopher Aticho with the details.
The former Senegalese president has not yet commented on his candidacy, but those close to him confirm that he is indeed in the race to succeed Antonio Guterres. The former head of state of Senegal is still facing challenges in his country. Macky Sall's close associate, however, say he has the qualities to succeed in this challenge, a perspective shared by Yoro Ja, a former minister under Sall's regime.
Regarding Macky Sall's candidacy, we are not simply asking for the support of the President of Senegal. We even want the President of the Republic of Senegal to become Macky Sall's campaign ambassador. We are quite hopeful that this will happen. For me, the most important debate concerns the strengths of candidate Macky Sall. He has several assets. Naturally, he is the candidate of Africans, but also with the comparative advantage of support he may receive within the Security Council.
As soon as the former president's candidacy was confirmed, the opposition in Senegal was quick to react. They challenged his ability to effectively lead the office of the UN Secretary General. Ibrahima Khan, a governance expert, explains the impact of such action.
For somebody who wants to lead the whole world in terms of governance, in terms of human rights, in terms of leadership in general, you need to be clean and you need to have certain ethics. For years, Macky Sall was really a kind of small dictator between 21 and 24. More than 60 to 80 people, according who give the figures, died because of the action of the security services. He locked up families here. More than 2,000 people were locked in very bad condition in Senegal.
Before the former Senegalese president's candidacy, there were two official candidates, former Chilean President Michelle Bachelet and the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi. Many countries are also advocating for a woman to hold this position for the first time.
Christopher testified that report in Nigeria, conversations are shifting from campaign promises to confidence in the 2027 electoral process. From voters on the streets to civil society observers, questions about transparency and procedural are taking center stage. The concerns are emerging despite recent assurances from the electoral umpire, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). Our Abuja correspondent Yechenu Sasetu reports.
Many Nigerians believe that trust in elections begins at the polling unit. The Independent National Electoral Commission says the 2027 general elections may not be 100% perfect, a statement that has sparked mixed reactions.
Such statements sends a lot of electorates, a lot of Nigerians worries as to if the process will be credible well enough.
He's afraid that when things go south, he's likely to lose his job.
No election in the world has ever been perfect, but at least you do your best to keep people assured. Reassure us that this can be done and you do your best to see what can be done.
The right procedures should be carried out properly, please. They shouldn't come out and give us excuses all the time.
Those concerns bring renewed attention to provisions of the Electoral Act. Communications Officer at Connected Development Code, Odinaka Onigbo, says this provision is unacceptable.
So there's this clause whereby if there is a difficulty with digital transmission, we have to do a fallback. And we saw what happened in the last elections with the Form EC8A, where there was all sort of manipulation and editing on the form. I mean, some officers even used correction fluids on that form. So that is quite worrying.
Despite the concerns, the Independent National Electoral Commission maintains that preparations are progressing steadily. INEC Chairman Joash Amukwiton says the Commission is reviewing lessons from previous elections, strengthening logistics and refining procedures to ensure improved performance nationwide. He expresses confidence that the 2027 general elections will be Nigeria's best yet.
Election of 2027 will be the best election that Nigerians will have, because Nigerians of 2023 is different from what you have in 2027.
As Nigerians prepare to return to the polls, attention may remain fixed on not just who wins, but on how the votes are recorded, protected, and presented. For WADR, Yechenu Sasetu in Abuja.
Elsewhere in Togo, opposition members are demanding clarification of a bill to extend the state of emergency in the Savannahs region. On February 27, 2026, Togolese MPs adopted the first reading of the document. This exceptional measure has been effective since June 2022 in the border area with Burkina Faso as a response to attacks carried out by armed groups. However, the bill seeking extension can only come into effect if the Senate approves it. But opposition MPs are requesting clarifications about the scope and duration of the state of emergency extension. Bridget Jamago Johnson from the People's Majority Movement voted against the bill, highlighting the lack of clear answers to the questions she raised more than 3 years after the state of emergency was declared concerning the economic and social reparations for residents as well as the effects on individual liabilities. She is calling for a parliamentary mission to be sent to the area to assess the situation firsthand.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
And here in Dakar, West Africa Democracy Radio is conducting a week-long training for journalists on investigative and solution-based journalism. The convergence comes as Western Sub-Saharan Africa continue to witness a change in political climate with rising insecurity that has often led to coups. This initiative, organized in partnership with the National Endowment for Democracy (NED), is designed to equip journalists from conflict-affected states with the skill set to counter disinformation and report responsibly. These exercises are being conducted through practical, interactive, and expert-guided sections. More details with Imo Edit.
Against a backdrop of political instability in the Sahel, the training seeks to better equip journalists to address issues related to democratic resilience. Over the next 6 days, participants will be trained in investigative techniques, the production of specialized programs on security matters, as well as mechanisms to combat disinformation. For Batraure, Sahel Research Officer with WATI, the session comes at a crucial time.
Disinformation is a big issue. It's impact governance and security. Nowadays, the problem is sometimes you have disinformation coming from different sources, sometimes from government, from media, and sometimes from social media.
Beyond the context, the training has been welcomed by participants. Burkinabe journalist Ibrahima Kumbeme expressed satisfaction with the opportunity to strengthen his skills. He says, "This training, which has just been organized, is very useful for us journalists today, especially as we work in rather difficult situations. Investigative journalism, in the context we operate in, requires additional skills so that we can go into the field, gather information, and above all, respond effectively to the security crisis we are facing. It will enable us to acquire the fundamentals and the necessary tools to truly be operational in our work." Through this initiative, the organizers aim to train a new generation of journalists capable of conducting investigations with rigor, caution and responsibility in a region where informing the public can sometimes expose one to danger. Here is a message reiterated by Agnes John Tomasi, Managing Director of West Africa Democracy Radio. She says, "You come from countries facing significant security and democratic challenges. Therefore, your role is extremely important. We recognize that you are already professionals, capable of carrying out the responsibilities that will be entrusted to you." The collaboration focuses on equipping media professionals with advanced investigative skills, fact-checking techniques, and tools to counter disinformation, while ensuring that their reporting does not inflame tensions in fragile environments.
More added reporting there. In Benin, 2 officers of the Republican Police are on trial for alleged acts of corruption and influence peddling. They are accused of facilitating the release of an individual arrested for drug trafficking in exchange for a payment of 500,000 CFA francs. The events date back to an operation carried out in Abomey-Calavi, during which a suspect was arrested in possession of a significant quantity of cannabis. However, upon their appearance before the Court for the Repression of Economic Crimes and Terrorism, CREAD, the officers deny any direct involvement in an illegal transaction, claiming they had no control over the decision-making process. In the same case, the alleged traffickers are also charged with possession and distribution of narcotics. The court has scheduled the next hearing for April 20, 2026. The Ghanaian government has announced the indefinite closure of its embassy in Tehran. Accra cites escalating tension and ongoing hostilities involving Iran, Israel, and the United States in the Middle East. According to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Ablakwa, the closure is a precautionary measure to guarantee the safety of Ghanaian diplomats. From Accra, Nadia Detete reports.
Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Ablakwa has announced that Ghana has successfully evacuated all its embassy staff from Iran as security conditions deteriorated in the region. In a statement issued on Monday, March 2, Mr. Ablakwa said the evacuation was completed safely and all Ghanaian diplomats are unharmed. He indicated that Ghana's diplomatic mission in Tehran has been closed indefinitely, stressing that the safety and welfare of Ghanaians remain government's utmost priority during what he described as turbulent times. The move follows escalating military exchanges involving Iran, Israel, and the United States, raising fears of a broader regional confrontation. Analysts warn that the rising tensions pose significant risks to diplomatic missions and foreign nationals. Mr. Kuchetu Ablakwa expressed appreciation to partners who supported the evacuation process and assured that government will continue to monitor developments closely. Diplomatic observers say the closure reflects a cautious approach by Accra as uncertainty persists over the direction of the conflict in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Programs Manager CDD Ghana Paula Brampa is urging government to initiate steps to minimize the impact of the conflict on the economy.
In global economic politics, in global security politics, no country is an island. No country can play safe wherever it starts. whether within the region as the Sahel problem is affecting us, or globally as we have economic. As the cushions that we are touting in Ghana, if the resumption of refinery that the Ghana oil company started doesn't go up in quantities, we're going to be affected by the oil prices no matter what happens.
For WADR, Nadi Tete, Accra.
In the Gambia, the first ordinary section of the 2026 legislative year is underway, setting the stage for what is expected to be the month focused largely on digital and economic reforms. Among them is the Communications Bill 2025, tabled by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Lamine Jabi. The proposed legislation seeks to overhaul the country's communications framework. From Banjul, WADR's Andona Mendy reports.
Presenting the bill, Minister Lamine Jabi told members that the reform is designed to strengthen data protection and privacy safeguards, enhance cybersecurity systems, and promote greater transparency and competition within the communication sector.
It is to enable e-government services by promoting innovation and addressing computer misuse and cybercrime to protect individuals and organizations. It's to provide legal recognition for electronic signature, contracts and other electronic communications to enable electronic commerce.
He further noted that the proposed law is aligned with global technological trends and aims to accelerate the growth of the Gambia's digital economy by encouraging innovation in information and media services.
The creation of an enhanced ecosystem in the face of technological innovation for national defense and public safety. This bill is expected to establish a legal framework for electronic transactions, information, media and broadcasting services, promoting national and regional competitiveness.
The bill has now been referred to the Business Committee for detailed scrutiny and is expected to undergo further review and stakeholder consultations. It is worth noting that the outcome of this bill could significantly shape how the Gambia manages its digital transformation as lawmakers weigh the need to attract investment and innovation while safeguarding citizens' rights in an increasingly connected society. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I am Sangdana Mendy, reporting from Banjul.
You are listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM Dakar and online at wadr.org. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Nigerians react to INEC statement that 2027 elections may not be 100% perfect. Senegal's former President Sall faces setback for UN Secretary General candidacy. West Africa Democracy Radio launches a week-long training for journalists on investigative and solution-based reporting. Opposition in Togo demands clarity into a bill seeking state of emergency extension in Savannah's region. Still ahead, we have guest interview and sports news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Many thanks for being with us. We are streaming live on YouTube at WADR and on Facebook, WADR English Service. The Liberian Senate has launched the Legislative Committee on Population and Development Process. It aims to prioritize the well-being of Liberians through informed policy and strategic oversight. WADR's Monrovia correspondent Ibrahim Parker reports.
Liberia has launched the Legislative Committee on Population and Development to ensure national planning reflects the country's demographic realities. Chairperson of the Senate Committee on Health and the LCPD, Senator Dapa Vapala, says the committee will work to improve the quality of life for Liberians through advocacy, legislative support, capacity building, and partnerships.
Advocacy and support for enactment of legislations that will enable the government to formulate and implement national population policies and programs for the improvement of the legal, social, economic, and cultural status of children, youth, and women.
Its focus areas include population dynamics, youth development, gender equity, sexual and reproductive health and rights. The initiative is backed by the United Nations Population Fund, which will help set a technical secretariat and mobilize financial and technical support. Director General of the Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services, Richard Gaffon, pledged data and research support for the committee's work. The launch, held under the supervision of Vice President Jeremiah Cohn, was themed putting people at the center of national development. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
Now to health matters. The World Health Organization WHO says nearly 32 million children worldwide live with disabling hearing loss. However, almost 60% of these cases could be prevented through early prevention and intervention. WHO concludes this finding in a new report, which coincides with World Hearing Day, celebrated annually on the 3rd of March. The report, titled Hearing Loss in Children, Steps to Take to Act Now, calls for urgent action to protect the hearing health of the youngest population. Sankule Janko completes the story.
The World Health Organization says early detection and prompt treatment are essential to limit the long-term consequences of hearing loss on children's development, schooling and prospects. Under the theme From Community to School, Hearing Care for Every Child, the 2026 edition highlights the need to integrate hearing care into school and child health programs. According to the organization, introducing systematic screening and early interventions into national school health plans would significantly improve the situation for affected children. Health experts revealed that common and preventable causes of hearing loss include otitis media with effusion, chronic suppurative otitis media, and earwax buildup, which are common conditions in children. WHO also warns of the often progressive and subtle nature of hearing loss, which can affect speech, language, as well as cognitive and social development. It maintains that without appropriate treatment, these disorders can lead to academic difficulties, limited future career opportunities, and generate lasting economic disadvantages, the organization warns.
Sankule Janko fight that report.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Our guest interview focuses on trending reactions to Senegal's former President Macky Sall's candidacy for the position of United Nations Secretary General. Burundian President and current AU Chairperson Evariste Ndayishimiye submitted Macky Sall's candidacy file. While Sall seeks to succeed Antonio Guterres as UN chief, some Senegalese citizens are challenging his capacity to lead the organization, citing concerns over his record in office as president. Ibrahima Khan, an AU governance expert, provides an analysis of the circumstances surrounding Macky Sall's candidacy.
Usually when people prepare the election of the Secretary General, it's preceded by a lot of campaign, of candidates about the presidency, going to see, having a regional gathering, visiting those who count in the region to endorse your candidature. Before the AU summit in Addis, nobody heard about Macky Sall candidature. So it came as a surprise to all of us because Macky Sall was not listed in the category of people whose candidature needed to be discussed at the level of the AU. There is a committee of candidature at the AU that meets every summit and decide who the AU will support in terms of his name was not there. So I think this is a kind of candidature of last minute. And every time you have a candidature of last minute, it's a kind of not only a surprise, but there is something behind it. And the reason I'm saying something behind it is because there is a tradition that was set for the election of a Secretary General for years. For months, the idea was Latin America is going to elect. And if you see the list of candidates before Macky Sall candidature, you have 3 candidates for Latin America.
But Mr. Ibrahim Khan, at least we understand that Macky Sall's candidacy was really endorsed by the African Union. As a matter of fact, and it was submitted by the current EU chairperson, Evariste Ndayishimiye.
I think you need to nuance that. In the statement that was made by the president of Burundi, who is also the chairperson of AU, he said the candidature was presented by Burundi, not by the AU. Yes, because to be a candidate of the AU, you need that candidature need to be discussed and adopted during a summit, and it was not discussed during the AU summit.
So does it go to say that Macky Sall's candidacy has not been endorsed by the African Union, or it doesn't have the support of all EU member states?
But his own country. Have you heard his own country saying we support his candidature? No.
I was coming to that because shortly after that news broke, the opposition in Senegal really challenged his ability or capacity to effectively lead the office of the UN Secretary General. This could be local politics.
It could be local politics, but through that issue raised by some people in Senegal, I think there is also a truth. The truth is, for somebody who wants to lead the whole world in terms of governance, in terms of human rights, in terms of leadership in general, you need to be clean and you need to have certain ethics. For years, Macky Sall was really a kind of small dictator between 21 and 24. More than 60 to 80 people, according who give the figures, passed away, died because of the action of the security services. He locked up families here. More than 2,000 people were locked in very bad condition in Senegal. The way you remember, you were here when he stopped the election process and everything. All of that, but you can't do all of that and suddenly said you are human and you are you aspire to be one of the people who can really teach others on how to behave in a difficult situation. For me, ethically, it's not right for him to aspire to be the Secretary General of the United Nations.
Ibrahim Khan is an AU governance expert. And in sports, Burkina Faso have named Franco-Comorian Tatishan Ahmed Abdou as the new head coach of the national team, marking what the federation calls a new era of discipline and ambition for the Stallions. The 53-year-old replaces Brahma Traore, who was dismissed following the team's early exit at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Abdou guided Comoros to a historic Africa Cup of Nations knockout stage appearance in 2021. He later led Mauritania to notable success, including a landmark victory over Algeria at AFCON 2023. His immediate task will be to steady the team ahead of the 2027 AFCON qualifiers and upcoming World Cup qualifying matches. Meanwhile, Cameroon's indomitable Lions have secured their place at the Total Energies CAF Under 17 Africa Cup of Nations 2026 after lifting the Unified Under 17 title. The Young Lions sealed qualification of a 2-0 victory over DR Congo's Junior Leopards on the final match day in Kinshasa. Goals from Ronin Balan in the 10th minute and Arnold Masikan in the 49th ensured Cameroon retained their regional crown. The tournament was held at Tata Raphael Stadium from February 17 to March 2, with both Cameroon and DR Congo earning qualification for the continental finals. And that's it in the world of sports. With that, we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM Dakar, Senegal, and online at wadr.org. Thank you for listening. Many thanks to Mustafa Sek and Umu Dayogo for the technical support. To interact with us via our social media platforms, including X, Instagram, and Facebook at WADR English. I am Augustine Curley. Good evening.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Niba County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Gaf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone in Nigeria, and Love 104.5 FM, Abuja.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is